Welcome to this documentary. Stay with USA Europe. What follows could change how you see this story. Imagine the hush of a dimly lit room, the faint scent of aged stone and olive oil lingering in the air. A single oil lamp flickers, casting golden light across the floor, where a mosaic of tesserae, tiny, polished stones, lies in quiet splendor. The colors are muted, yet they shimmer with a life of their own, deep blues, soft yellows, and the faintest traces of crimson. This is no mere decoration, it is a window into a world long past, a silent testament to the hands that shaped it. The mosaic's patterns ripple like waves, its geometry precise, its symbolism layered. It is a relic of the classical antiquity, a time when the Greeks were forging their identity, navigating the currents of trade, philosophy, and art. But what message does this mosaic hold? What stories does it whisper across the centuries? To understand this, we must first step back into the world of the 5th and 4th centuries BCE, a period when the city-states of Greece, Athens, Sparta, Corinth, and many others, were both rivals and collaborators. The air was thick with the hum of intellectual exchange, as thinkers like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle debated the nature of reality. Yet, beyond the bustling agora and the grand temples, a quieter craft was at work, the creation of mosaics. These intricate works of art adorn public spaces, private homes, and even the floors of bathhouses, their tesserae arranged with meticulous care. They were not merely decorative, they were a form of communication, a way to encode meaning in patterns that could be read by those who knew how to look. But what did these patterns signify? The Greeks, known for their love of symmetry and order, often used geometric designs to convey harmony and balance. Yet, within these designs, there were hints of something more. Consider the recurring use of the meander, a swirling, endless pattern that adorned many mosaics. Was this a symbol of the eternal flow of life, or a subtle nod to the cyclical nature of time? Or perhaps it was a marker of cultural identity, a visual signature that linked the mosaic to its maker and its place in the world. The meander, after all, was not unique to Greece, it had roots in the Near East, where it was used in early civilizations. This suggests a broader exchange of ideas, a shared language of symbols that transcended borders. Yet, the mosaics of the classical period were not confined to geometric abstraction. They often incorporated figures, gods, heroes, and everyday people, each rendered with a precision that belied the labor required to create them. A mosaic of a young athlete, for instance, might be placed in a gymnasium, a space where physical prowess and civic duty were intertwined. Here, the image served as both a celebration of human potential and a reminder of the values that defined Greek society. But these images were not always straightforward. Sometimes, they were ambiguous, their meanings open to interpretation. A mosaic depicting a woman with outstretched arms could be a symbol of fertility, a goddess, or even a metaphor for the city itself, reaching out to its people. The mystery deepens when we consider the materials used to create these mosaics. The tesserae, often made of marble, glass, or stone, were sourced from local quarries or imported from distant lands. This material exchange was a reflection of the interconnectedness of the ancient world. A mosaic found in a Greek city might contain fragments of lapis lazuli from Afghanistan or porphyry from Egypt, each piece a testament to the reach of Greek influence and the networks of trade that bound the Mediterranean together. But the choice of materials was not merely practical, it was symbolic. The vibrant colors of glass tesserae, for example, could evoke the divine, while the cool tones of marble might suggest the permanence of the gods. Yet, even with these clues, the full meaning of the mosaics remains elusive. Scholars have long debated whether these works were intended to convey religious messages, political allegories, or personal expressions of faith and identity. Some argue that the repetition of certain symbols, like the owl, which was associated with Athena, the goddess of wisdom, served to reinforce cultural values. Others suggest that the mosaics were a form of storytelling, encoding narratives that could be deciphered by those familiar with the myths and traditions of the time. But without a clear context, these interpretations remain speculative. This uncertainty is part of the mosaics' enduring allure. They invite us to wonder, what did the Greeks see in these patterns that we cannot? How did they use art to navigate the complexities of their world? The answer may lie not in a single truth, but in the multiplicity of meanings that these mosaics have inspired across the centuries. As we trace the origins of these works, we are reminded that they were the product of human hands, shaped by the constraints of their time. The artisans who crafted them worked with limited tools, relying on their skill and imagination to transform raw materials into something that transcended the material. Their choices, what symbols to include, what colors to use, were guided by both practical considerations and a deep-seated desire to connect with the world around them. In this way, the mosaics became more than art, they were a reflection of the human spirit, a bridge between the past and the present. And so, we return to the mosaic, its patterns still whispering their secrets. The light from the oil lamp shifts, casting new shadows across the tesserae, as if the mosaics themselves are alive, waiting to be understood. What messages do they hold? What stories do they tell? Perhaps the answer lies not in certainty, but in the quiet wonder of their existence, a reminder that even in the ancient world, the human need to create, to communicate, and to find meaning in the patterns of life was as enduring as the stones that formed them. The mosaic surface, though seemingly static, is a testament to the dynamic interplay between human ingenuity and the natural world. Each tessera, a fragment of glass, stone, or ceramic, was meticulously selected and placed, its color and texture chosen not merely for aesthetic appeal but for the symbolic resonance it carried. Red, a pigment derived from ochre or cinnabar, might signify vitality or divinity. Blue, often sourced from lapis lazuli or ground minerals, could evoke the heavens or the sea. The artisans who worked with these materials were not merely craftsmen but interpreters of a shared cultural lexicon, their hands translating abstract ideas into tangible form. In the dim glow of a workshop, they might have labored for weeks, their fingers stained with mortar, their eyes attuned to the subtle gradations of light and shadow that would bring the design. The process was as much a ritual as it was a craft, a sacred act of creation that bound the maker to the divine and the mortal alike. Yet the mosaics were not the work of solitary visionaries but of collaborative communities. In the bustling agora of a Greek city-state, or the quiet sanctuaries of a temple, these works emerged from the interplay of patron, artist, and audience. A wealthy merchant might commission a depiction of his family's prosperity, while a priestess would seek to immortalize the gods in their eternal splendor. The mosaics thus became a mirror of societal values, their patterns encoding the aspirations and fears of those who commissioned them. A scene of a banquet, its figures reclining in leisure, might reflect the ideals of communal harmony, while a depiction of a battle or a mythic hero could serve as a reminder of the virtues of courage and destiny. Even the simplest tesserae, arranged in geometric precision, spoke to the Greeks' fascination with order and symmetry, a pursuit that mirrored their philosophical quest for harmony in the cosmos. To the ancients, the mosaic was more than decoration, it was a portal to the eternal. In the flickering light of a torch, the patterns seemed to shift, their meaning elusive, their stories unfolding like the cycles of the seasons. A mosaic of a fish, its scales shimmering in the dimness, might be read as a symbol of abundance or transformation, while a spiral of interwoven lines could hint at the infinite nature of. These visual metaphors were not arbitrary but rooted in a worldview that saw the material and the spiritual as intertwined. The Greeks, with their love of allegory, might have viewed the mosaic as a microcosm of the universe, its tesserae like the stars in the night sky, each fragment a note in the grand. And so, the mosaic endures, its secrets preserved in the silence of time. Though the hands that shaped it have long since vanished, the patterns remain, whispering their ancient tales to those who pause to listen. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this documentary, please like and subscribe for more stories every week.